Yo, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to the show. It is so wonderful to see you all here on this glorious Monday. I hope it's as glorious for you as it is for me. Today, oh my goodness, guys. Today, we're gonna talk about the 5 myths of roasting and why they're myths and why they're just everywhere and they're wrong. They're so wrong. I need a coffee. They're just so wrong. They're so wrong. Hello, hello, hello. It is so wonderful to see your smiling face here with me again today. And I took a breather. I calmed down. I'm good to go. But guys, it just irks me how many things there are wrong in this world with how coffee is. And I just wanted to take today and fix a few of those things and make sure that you have the best knowledge there is for you so that you can walk into a shop and not sound like a complete fool. Like there are sometimes in this world. They're just fools. But yes, I'm gonna help you so you don't sound dumb when it comes to coffee. But first, make sure you subscribe, leave a little comment if you enjoyed the video. But yeah, let's just get right into the video. So like I said, there's a lot of myths around roasting coffee. And real quick, before we kind of dive into it, I just want to give you a quick 20 seconds overview of the roasting process. So basically, you start off with green coffee. And then as you roast it, it goes to this yellow and then cinnamon roast. First crack is where it literally sounds like popcorn, and then you kind of move through the roast levels. So after the first crack, which is about right after a light roast, right in between medium roast, in between the first and second crack, you can still be a medium roast, and then you get past that, and you hit a dark roast, and then the Vienna roast, which is bleh, just burnt. If you ever walked into a shop and just seen dark black beans, covered in oil, super dark, more than likely they're burnt, and they're not actually roasted properly, so just know that. But that's the process of roasting. So you have a little basis to go off of. So myth number 1 is that darker roasts have more caffeine. Hi, can I get your darkest roast coffee because I want a lot of caffeine? No, that is not how it works. There are some very, very minimal differences in caffeine between a dark and a light roast, but not enough that you would ever know. And just don't walk into a shop and order a dark roast because you are expecting the most caffeine. Just like you shouldn't walk in and order an espresso because you think you'll get the most caffeine. A plot twist, espresso has the least caffeine of most coffee beverages. We'll talk about that in another episode. All right, myth number 2 is that light roast coffee is less complex than dark roast coffee. And this is just completely untrue. If anything, a dark roast is actually less complex than a light roast. So let me tell you something. When you roast a light roast, yes, you're not getting maybe as much of a roast profile out of it. It might not be as far along in the roasting process, but what a lighter medium roast coffee does is it accents the flavors of that natural coffee. Where a dark roast, you'll taste the quote-unquote roast profile, or whatever that's supposed to be, but you won't taste those subtle nuances to each of those coffees. So you could roast the exact same green coffee as a light roast and a dark roast and get completely different results. So yeah, just because you taste a lighter roast coffee or maybe even a lighter coffee in general, it doesn't mean it's wrong, it doesn't mean it's bad, it just means that they've accented the profile of that specific coffee, which means that in the end, it's better because it's supposed to be what that coffee is supposed to taste like. And that might be lighter, that might be really nice acidic citrus notes. And yeah, you won't get those big, bold chocolate caramel notes, but that's okay because that's not what it's supposed to taste like. So no, light roast coffee is not less complex. If anything, it's more complex and it's harder to make taste good. Now the 4th myth about roasted coffee is actually a really common misconception. It is that an espresso needs to have a specific espresso roast. And this is something actually that for a long time I thought there was a specific roast for espresso. So when I would be going to a shop or see something, I'd see a bag of coffee and it wouldn't say espresso roast on it. I'd be oh, you can't use this for espresso. No. That's just untrue. You can really use any coffee for espresso. I have used everything from a really dark roast for an espresso to a $50 geisha for an espresso, which is one of the most expensive shots of coffee I've ever had, but it's delicious, it's light, it's delicate, and yeah, it's maybe not your traditional espresso, but it can still be used as an espresso. Now, that being said, there are some coffees that just work better for espresso than others. You know, there's just some that will always be a really good espresso, and there's just some that people won't really like as an espresso. But that has nothing to do with it being an espresso roast as much as it does with people's personal preference. The only other thing I will say is that there are some times where roasters will make a specific blend and they will use it for espresso at their coffee shops, which then means like usually that's the one they will recommend if you want something for espresso, just because they know that it tastes good on espresso, whereas maybe some of their other blends they haven't ever tried on espresso and they don't really know how it tastes as espresso. So yeah, no. It's a common misconception, but no, there is not a specific espresso roast. All right, so the fourth myth is that strong coffee is created from the roasting, so that your most pungent flavors, your strongest, punch you right in the back of the mouth coffee will come from how you roast the coffee. And that's just not true. Roasting is what creates the flavor of the coffee. So whether it's lighter, citrusy and fruity, or darker, chocolatey, caramely, or burnt as crap, that's kind of what that creates. Brewing is what creates, a strong cup of coffee and everything. But yeah, roasting, will not give you a stronger cup of coffee. You could have the darkest roast ever and you could still have it be very watery and under extracted because of the brewing profile. Whereas you could also have a light roast that is just hits you like right in the mouth, delicious flavors, really upfront, very bold, big bodied, but it's like a very light roast. So it's a common misconception, but no, roasting does not determine if it will be a strong cup of coffee or a weak cup of coffee. All of that is done in the brewing process. Welcome back to the couch. Myth number 5 is that you should immediately use coffee right after you roast it. Basically, you will get the best flavor if you roast the coffee, let it cool, and then bam, make a cup of coffee. That's just fake news, honestly. That is false. When you roast coffee, it creates a lot of chemical reactions, all these different things, and the beans actually need some time to degas and get rid of carbon dioxide. If you ever made a pour over at home or seen a pour over being made, you'll know about the bloom, which I have another video about, which will be linked above. And the bloom is what releases that kind of excess CO2 because CO2 is bitter. It's straight up bitter. And if you take a coffee right after it's roasted, like roast in the morning, make a cup in the afternoon, it's gonna be very, very bitter because it's not gonna have enough time to degas all of that CO2. So yes, fresh coffee is best, but you need to give it about 24 to 72 hours to degas after the roast date and make sure that you are getting the best flavor from it and not just getting the bitter, nasty CO2 taste. So yes, fresh coffee is best, but when you walk into a coffee shop and they're saying, oh, all of our beans are super duper fresh, we use them right away, I'd be a little concerned. Maybe they don't actually know a lot about coffee. They might have good intentions, but they might not be giving that coffee enough time to degas, and your coffee might be a little bitter. But yeah, guys, those are the 5 main myths of coffee roasting. There are other ones, but I felt like those were the 5 big ones that I wanted to touch on so that the next time you go into a coffee shop, you can know a little more and understand a little more and hopefully make a more informed decision and not just walk in and ask for a caramel macchiato. Guys, let me give you a little hint here, a little tidbit. If you walk into a shop and you look at the menu and there's no caramel macchiato listed, maybe don't just immediately order it. Maybe say, hey, I a lot of times get a caramel macchiato from Starbucks. Do you have something that would be similar to that? And maybe they do. Maybe they have caramel. Maybe they don't and they offer you something else. Please, please, for the love of God, do not just walk in and be like, iced caramel macchiato, please, without even looking at the menu. Just don't. It's honestly, one of the biggest frustrations of being a barista. And if you ask any barista in third wave coffee, I am sure that 80-90% of them will give the same thing. But yeah, that was my rant for the end of the video. For those of you that stayed to the end, thank you so much. I love you for staying to the end because, yeah, honestly, it means a lot to me that you were willing to watch this whole video. That's really nice. Just a reminder, my Patreon is up as always, and in exactly 1 week, my coffee will be launching. So if you haven't put in your email, gotten that discount code to use, checked out the website to see the coffees, please do. It would mean a lot. Even if you don't drink a lot of coffee, it could be a great gift for a friend. or just check out the website, put in your email, then I can, say hi, say what's up. So thank you all so much for your support. It means so much. Remember to check out the Patreon, leave a comment, tell me what you liked, if you learned something, and shoot me a little DM. Let's keep this conversation going. Tell me about some things you'd love to hear, some things you'd love to see, maybe a video series. Let me know. I love hearing from each and every one of you. But that is all I have for today, guys. Go enjoy a deliciously caffeinated beverage, and the Caffeinated Consultant will see you next Monday on release day. Bye, guys.